Today I'm going to be doing some more work on the undercarriage of the machine that you see behind me. Last week I replaced the idler assembly, and if you'd like to see that video, I'll put a link to it in the video description. Today I'm going to be replacing a track roller. Both of these repairs are actually being done for the same reason, which is to address some squeaking that I'm getting as the machine moves around. Replacing the idler helped a lot, but there definitely still is some squeaking, and it's clearly coming from a track roller, so I need to replace it. This is actually much easier to do than replacing the idler simply because you don't need to remove the track. Just releasing the track tension is actually enough to get the old track roller out and put the new one in. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Very quickly, let's use this picture to explain exactly what I'm going to be doing. You can see that on this machine there are 4 track rollers that sit between the drive sprocket and the idler. The one that's squeaking is up front here. The process for replacing it is as follows. First, I need to elevate this side of the machine using the arm. Once the track is off the ground, I need to release the track tension. I do this by removing the 27mm bolt that sits underneath this plate. The bolt that I'm referring to is the one that holds the grease in the grease cylinder. If you don't fully understand how this works, you should watch the previous video where I replaced the idler. In that video, I go into much more detail about how the grease cylinder works. Anyways, after the track is loose, I need to remove the bolts that hold the track roller into place. There's just one bolt on each side. At that point, the roller should fall out, and I can put the new one in. It really is that simple. Here's a diagram of the track rollers on this machine. You can see that the system relies on a simple sleeve bearing. In other words, just like the idler, the roller just rotates around these 2 bushings. Lubrication is provided by oil at the center of the assembly. That's why we need these seals on either side. The oil used in the track rollers is 85W140 gear oil, which is heavier than the 30 weight oil used in the idler. Now, obviously, if you lose these seals, then oil is going to leak out and the roller will fail. That may be what happened here. I'll know more once I remove the roller. Okay, before I go any further, I want to do a side-by-side comparison of this new roller with the old one that I just took off the machine. You can see that on the new one, there is no play between this central shaft and the roller itself. The whole assembly is really very tight. But on the old one, there's at least ½ inch of play there. When they get that worn, you really just have to replace the whole assembly. Even if I were to try to go in there and replace the bushings and seals and then put oil back into it, it would just never be right again. So we're going to replace it with this new one. There's one more thing to note before putting that track roller back onto the machine. Well, 2 things actually, but they're related. The first is that you need to use this red thread locker. That's the permanent thread locker. If you don't, then those bolts can come loose, the track roller can come off, and then you have an expensive repair on your hands. Don't be cheap, use the thread locker and you'll be happy that you did. Secondly, those bolts need to be torqued to spec. On this machine it's 152 to 181 foot-pounds. I'm going to set my torque wrench to 170. Don't just bang on them for 3 seconds with an impact wrench and expect that that's going to be okay. Use a torque wrench, torque to spec, and you'll save yourself a headache down the road. Alright, that's all there is to replacing a track roller. Pretty straightforward. I hope that you enjoyed this content and that you found it useful. And if you did, please like and subscribe.